Hey guys, real quick YouTube video on this weekend's gospel, which was the third Sunday of Easter. I love the description that St. Luke gives of the apostles, right? It happens right after the story of the road to Emmaus. Luke chapter 24, the two disciples are walking on the road to Emmaus. Jesus shows up, they recognize him and they're breaking the bread. Those two disciples then go back to meet the other apostles, tell them what they're doing. And in the midst of this extraordinary, I don't know, sharing of what they just experienced, Jesus shows up there, right? And he says, peace be with you. It says the apostles, and I love this, it says they were incredulous for joy, right? Incredulous, credere is belief, right? And so they were, it was unbelievable to them. It was too good to be true. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. I'm sure you've had that experience. I remember I lived in Rome for 5 years and my family hadn't seen me in 2 years. My niece was being baptized, so my brother-in-law bought me a ticket without anybody knowing, and I showed up at my sister's door in Chicago, rang the doorbell, and my mom was the one who answered the door. She was incredulous for joy, right? She sees me, and she can't believe it's me. She's touching my arms and touching my face, and the whole time I'm like, Ma, it's me. I'm actually here right now. She was incredulous for joy, and that's what Jesus is doing in the gospel today. He shows up, they're incredulous for joy, and he says, look at my hands and my feet, touch me and see. Give me a piece of fish so you'll know that you're not having an apparition or a vision, or you're not projecting something in your mind. I'm actually here right now. And what Jesus wants to do is what I wanted to do with my mom. I wanted to bring her from incredulity, from not believing that it was me, to believing. Jesus wants us to go from incredulity to credulity, from unbelief to belief. Here's two ways that we can grow in our faith, right? The first way, and it's real simple, ask for it. Faith is a gift and God is the giver, and we just ask him for faith and he'll give us faith. I love this prayer, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. I think every time we receive communion, especially after we say amen and we receive the Lord into our souls, to say, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. And then the second way to grow in faith is to make an effort, right, to grow in our faith. I think sometimes we leave that out as if faith will just come magically or something. We have to make an effort, just like I have to make an effort to get in shape, which I don't do, right? But we have to make an effort. A cousin of mine said, Joe, I'm so bored at Mass, and, kind of saying the stuff we hear all the time. And he said, I always profess the creed. I have no idea what I'm professing. And I said, well, whose fault is that? And he said, well, the priests have never taught me. And I said, okay, fine, that's true. But I said, you're 35 years old. You got to take responsibility on your own to learn your faith. We take responsibility to learn lots of other things, to learn how to drive and to learn how to do the math or our taxes or all these other things that we do that are important as mature adults. We got to do the same with our faith. And so those are the two big things I'd recommend, is to ask for faith, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief, and then make an effort to YouTube Father Mike Schmidt's, or Ascension Presents, or Real Life Catholic with Chris Stefanik, or Life Teen for the teenagers. So many ways to grow in our faith nowadays, and it changes everything. When we go from unbelief to belief, everything's different. When I actually start believing what I profess to believe, that the Eucharist is actually the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus, well, I'll never celebrate Mass in the same way again. When I actually believe that my sins are forgiven in confession, well, I'll never take confession for granted again, right? When I make the sign of the cross, I'll never take these things that I believe for granted again, right? Changes everything. Can you imagine if we believed what we profess to believe, that we are being held and sustained in love right now, that the Father holds us in the palm of his hands right now? If we believe that, which we profess, it would change everything in our lives. Let's really, this Easter season, ask for our greater increase in faith. Let's make an effort to learn it. And if we do, it'll transform our lives, and we will be not incredulous for joy, but credulous for joy.